السلام عليكم، يعطيكم العافية. أول محاضرة لنا حول الكارديوفاسكولار سيستم. راح تكون عبارة عن الاناتومي الفسيولوجي اوف ذا كارديوفاسكولار سيستم، وهي عبارة عن عملية مراجعة لما أخذناه في الفصول السابقة إن شاء الله. Regarding the size of the heart, it's the fifth size, يعني حجم قبضة اليد. The heart located mainly in the left side, and it's located within the mediastinum chest cavity. By looking to this picture, we can find the aorta here, which is the main artery. When the blood ejected outside of the heart, go through the aorta to body parts, and the right pulmonary artery, which carry the deoxygenated blood to the lung to be oxygenated. Here also the apex or the apical area, which is the point of the maximal impulse and mainly located at the fifth intercostal space mid-clavicular line. This is the left pulmonary artery, also here appear in this picture. Regarding the layers of the heart, there are three main layers: the endocardium, which is the most inner layer of the heart and composed of endothelial tissues; myocardium, which is the middle layer and composed of muscle fibers, and here the main function of the heart relies on this layer and consume a lot amount of oxygen; epicardium, which is the outer layer and adhere to the heart; by pericardium, which is the fibrous, tough outer and thin inner serous membrane. So that the pericardium composed of two layers, وهو غشاء التامور باللغة العربية. This double layer contain within these two layers the pericardium fluid, and which is approximately 30 to 50 milliliter, which is the process of contraction and decrease the friction during the heart's contraction. By looking to this picture, we can find here the endocardium. As we said, it's the most inner layer. The middle layer is the myocardium, the muscle layer, and the pericardium, which is the outer layer and composed of two layers, which is the fibrous tuft and the serous inner layer. Between these two layers there are the pericardial fluid. السلام عليكم، يعطيكم العافية. أول محاضرة لنا حول الكارديوفاسكولار سيستم. راح تكون عبارة عن الاناتومي الفسيولوجي اوف ذا كارديوفاسكولار سيستم، وهي عبارة عن عملية مراجعة لما أخذناه في الفصول السابقة إن شاء الله. This slide indicates that the endocardium is thin, three-layered membrane that lines the heart and covers the valve. The heart contains the right heart and the left heart. The right heart, which consists from the right atrium and the right ventricle, and distribute the deoxygenated blood toward the lung to be oxygenated. The left heart consists of left atrium, left ventricle, which distribute the oxygenated blood toward the body to provide adequate amount of oxygen to the body parts. There is a difference and varying in the thickness of atrial and ventricular wall, and left and right ventricular related to the workload. These varying thickness is related to the workload, which means that the left side, the left ventricle work more and more, and so that the muscle size will be more than the thickness on the right side of the heart. هذا يعني انه كلما زاد العمل المطلوب من الجزء بيزيد الثيكنس وبيزيد حجم هاي العضلة. The left ventricle will exert high effort to eject the blood against high resistance that presented in the aorta, so that there is a high workload on the left ventricle, وبالتالي ال thickness of the left ventricle بكون أكثر من ال thickness of the right ventricle. Heart valves. There are two types of heart valves: the atrioventricular valves and the semilunar valve. The atrioventricular valve, which separate between the atrium and the ventricle, which are the mitral and the tricuspid, and the semilunar valve, which is a three-leaflet valve and like the pulmonic and the aortic valve. Regarding the mitral valve, located between the left atrium and the left ventricle, the tricuspid valve located between the right atrium and the right ventricle. Semilunar valve, the pulmonic valve, which is located between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery. The aortic valve, which is located between the left ventricle and the aorta. As we know that the semilunar valve separates between a heart chambers and a blood vessel, while the atrioventricular valve separates between heart and other heart chambers. The atrioventricular valves are supported by the papillary muscle, which projects from the wall of the ventricles, and the chordae tendineae, which attach to the valve. The contraction and the relaxation of the papillary muscles play a role in opening and closing of the valve. The chordae tendineae attach to the valve to prevent the merging of these two types of valves in the atrium during cardiac contraction, so that keep it in their appropriate places. As viewed here in picture A, it's the mitral valve open, and so that the blood comes from the atrium toward the ventricle, and the papillary muscle here is relaxed. As I said previously, that the contraction and the relaxation of these papillary muscles play a role in opening and closing the valve, so that these muscles, when they are relaxed, the mitral valve open and allowing the blood to come down from atrium toward the ventricle, while in picture or diagram B, the mitral valve closed. Look for the chordae tendon, the papillary muscle, they are contracted, so that the mitral valve is closed, preventing any blood flow from the atrium toward the ventricle.